Hello, beautiful humans. Welcome back to Beyond Motherhood for another week. Today is a really special episode because we are celebrating a whole year of the podcast, which is exciting. It's not a year to the date, but this is the 52nd episode, which constitutes a whole year of podcasting. So it's been a year of diving into the beauty and the complexity of motherhood and all things being mamas and women, sharing stories, having incredible guests, and really just building this amazing community with you all. So, whether you're here for the very first time for this episode or you've been around here since episode number one a year ago, I just want to really thank you. Your support, your connection, it honestly means everything and helps me to keep the momentum going as well. So if you are new here, I am Monique Bathurst, your host. I am a music therapist, a women's mentor, and I am about to be certified as a feminine embodiment coach, which is super exciting through this the School of Embodied Arts. Just had a mental blank. And we're here today, obviously, being the year of podcasting. It's just really about to reflect not only on this journey from my own personal perspective, but really just how podcasting has taught me, or what it has taught me about motherhood and the highs and the lows and everything in between. It's also similar to our journey as mamas. So I wanted to share today a bit about what I've learned in this past year of podcasting and how it's really reflected my experience as a mother as well, because I'm sure you will be able to resonate and relate to much of what I desire to share with you all. So let's get started. First of all, I really want to just celebrate the wins and the highs. And there's so much to celebrate, both in podcasting and in motherhood over the last year. Launching Beyond Motherhood, it was a bit of a leap of faith. It's something that I'd been thinking about for probably close to 2 years. Wasn't sure how it was going to be received or whether people would resonate with it, but I've had so much positive feedback, and hearing from you how these episodes have supported you and inspired you, from reclaiming your identity to prioritizing yourself, or really just being seen in the craziness of motherhood. It's really been such a joy. And just continuing to build this community of like-minded mothers, and having particularly guests on here who've openly shared their stories and their expertise and their wisdom. And really just, we're here to support one another and grow together. And it's just such a magical piece to it all, and such a win as well. And as we know, motherhood has its wins too. They're often in those, what I find a lot of the time, those smaller, quieter moments. And it can be from when you see your kiddo doing something new for the first time, or achieving something that they've been trying so hard with for so long, or when they just come up to you and give you an unprompted hug and you realize that you're their safe space. And just like podcasting, the wins in motherhood, they don't always come with fireworks and balloons. Actually, I felt like I should have balloons behind me today. If you're watching the video, it's like I need to decorate my my backdrop. But anyway, that didn't happen, and that's okay. But it just goes to show that it's not a big fanfare all the time, these wins in motherhood and in podcasting, but they are deeply meaningful and they can really touch your heart. So just to remind us why we show up day in and day out, especially on those really hard, challenging days that have us come to our knees, have us questioning all the things, self-doubt, just know that, you know, those wins, they're meaningful and they can have such a profound impact on us. And of course, with the highs come the lows and navigating the challenges. And podcasting, it hasn't been smooth sailing. And yeah, podcasting and motherhood come with their fair share of challenges for sure. And, there's been weeks where I've wanted to just throw in the towel with the podcast, where I've struggled to balance like creating episodes and raising my kiddos and running a business and adulting and managing all the mental load and the responsibilities of being a parent and an adult in this life that we live. And times where I was just like, why am I doing this? Again, that self-doubt piece comes up, and wondering if I was doing enough, if people were even caring about what I had to share, and if it was even making a difference, or even if, I could just long-term keep up with it all. But, this might sound familiar to you, because motherhood can pretty much be that in a nutshell as well some days, when you're feeling too stretched, when you second guess yourself and wonder if you're making the right choices for your kiddo and for your family, when the house is an absolute mess and like a bomb's hit it, and you feel like your to-do list just keeps on growing, and you're just trying to keep everyone happy and fed and all the things. But the things that I've learned through this year of Beyond Motherhood is that I don't have to be perfect, and neither do you. Showing up as you are is enough. It is more than enough. And it's something that I've had to remind myself a lot, many times. And also that progress matters more than perfection. I've always loved the saying progress over perfection, because A, we know that perfection is a myth, it doesn't exist. But B, if we can just make small incremental progress, again, we are doing enough, and we are growing and evolving that way. And just also remembering that the hard moments and the challenges, and even a big one for me, is even your kids' behavior, that doesn't define who you are, and that definitely doesn't define whether you're a quote unquote good or bad mother. It doesn't. All these things, these hard moments and challenges, they do shape us, and they can be really beautiful lessons and learning opportunities. And in both podcasting and motherhood, like, I've learned that the challenges are where the growth actually happens. That is where the growth is, and that is how we evolve and continue moving forward. So just remember that. There's definitely been lessons and things that podcasting has taught me about myself, and has a lot of similarities to motherhood. And I've really learned to embrace just being vulnerable, and whether that's just sharing my own struggles on the podcast, or stories that may felt like a bit of an edge, or having those difficult conversations with my children and just being honest and real, like, that is what creates connection. And I think as us mothers, like, that is where we start to feel less alone, when we can really resonate with someone's story. I know for me, when I've listened to various podcasts and things over the years, like, when someone is sharing a struggle or something that's happened to them, and you really can relate to it, like, you feel seen and you feel validated. And second, I've also learned, like I said, to celebrate the little things, because all those small things add up. And whether that's someone sharing my podcast on their stories, or messaging me about an episode. And then as a mother, like, those little moments with your kids where you're playing and everyone's giggling and just having an amazing time. Like, we often play little games before bed, and just all those little moments that are just really worth savoring. And also, it's okay to ask for help. And in podcasting, that's meant I've had to lean on my mentor quite a lot. Shout out to Sheena Shui, because I had no idea what I was doing from the beginning, like the tech, all like those bits. Like, it's one thing just recording your voice or videoing yourself on Zoom, but it's another thing to actually know the tech behind what you actually have to do. I've lent on my listeners for feedback and like what they want to hear on the episodes and who they would love as guests and things. And, as well in motherhood, it's also a similar thing. We do not need to do it alone, and it's just letting go of that idea and that conditioning that we are also privy to, that we have to go it alone, and that leaning on help and support is a weakness, because it is 100% not. We were not designed to live this way and live in isolation and in houses like we do. We were designed as human beings to live in tribes and community and villages. So we are human beings that desire connection, and it's a basic human need, and to have support and help is 100% okay, whether in podcasting or motherhood. And that has been a huge learning curve for me as well. So as we look ahead, coming into the second year of the podcast of Beyond Motherhood, I'm really excited to see what's to come. I want to start to just dive really deeper into the things that light me up, that light you up, whether that's from a creative sense, passions, parts of us that extend beyond being mums, and really have some amazing guests continue to be on the podcast and to be even more vulnerable and share some of my own struggles and stories, being a single mom of 2 kids, running businesses, and the ups and downs of all of that. And, I'll continue to explore themes like finding balance in the messiness and the chaos, and how we can start to prioritize ourselves and reconnect with ourselves as the woman outside of the mother, and letting go of guilt and embracing all the abundance that is around us, and how we can just ultimately thrive as mothers and individuals. And, just like in motherhood, I'm figuring it out as I go. And let's be honest, none of us have it all figured out, and that's totally okay. I think it's just also about embracing the journey, and sometimes embracing the unknowns, even though they might feel a little bit scary. And that is a journey within itself, I will tell you that. But lastly, before I wrap up, I just want to again just say a huge, huge thank you. Thank you for showing up, for listening, for being part of this journey over the last year. Any of the reviews, the comments, messages, all the shares, they really do mean so much. And that's really what makes the podcast what it is. And I'm just so grateful to have you here along with myself, for this fun-filled ups and downs of life, and the ride that goes with all the things as we embrace motherhood. So if you've enjoyed this past year of Beyond Motherhood, I can't even speak, please do stick around, and I'd love for you to continue sharing and being involved. And if you want to share it with a friend, or leave a review, or 5 stars, or even just connect with me on social media, shout out, slide into the DMs. I'm always loving to speak with other mamas, to hear your stories, hear your wins, hear your struggles. Just let me know also what would you like me to speak more to in this second year of the podcast, because I'm always here to listen, and I'm always so open to feedback and anything that you want discussed on the poddy, or if there's any guests that you think would be perfect to be on the podcast, please do let me know. And yeah, just a huge, huge heartfelt gratitude to all of the amazing women who have been guests on my podcast the past year. There's so many to name, but I really love interviewing and speaking to others, and just hearing other women's and other mothers' stories and all the wisdom that they have to share as well. So here's to another year of growth, of connection, of us thriving, both in podcasting and in mamahood. So until next time, please take care of yourself. Thank you again, and I will see you next week.